What's up, everybody? This is Fred Rachani of TSC Gaming here to give you guys my thoughts on Life is Strange Before the Storm, the prequel to the popular narrative series Life is Strange, the video game that was on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. It returns on the same platforms. This is a prequel where you don't play as Max Caulfield, you actually play as her former best friend, Chloe Price. And it's really interesting because this is before Max came back to Arcadia Bay in Oregon. This is around the period when the drama started between Chloe and Max, or at least on one side of that friendship. And before I go any further, I just want to give a spoiler alert. If you've never played the Life is Strange series and you choose to pick this up for whatever reason prior to playing the other one, I think you can still enjoy it. However, I do personally recommend playing the original and then playing this one. I think the original you can get for pretty cheap on most platforms. So just keep that in mind. There are going to be some spoilers in this review, okay? Warning, 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. So this is published by Square Enix like the last one. This time around, this was developed by Deck Nine, and they did a tremendous job here. What I love about this particular game in the episode Awake, which is episode 1, is that there's tons of continuity with the last version. So Chloe Price, she's essentially filling in the gaps of what happened before Max came back to Arcadia Bay. She's bitter about the fact that Max, quote-unquote, left her, went to Seattle, doing her thing, taking pictures, pursuing her photography career. And when you're a teenager, you don't understand that when kids move, it's not up to the kids, it's not up to your best friends, it's up to the parents. So we get to the point where Chloe is bitter. She's pissed off. She lost her dad recently. He died in a car accident. She's just angry at the world. She's not a fan of her mother dating David, who would later become the security guard at Blackwell Academy. She's just pissed. Her grades aren't going so well. We find out that she used to be a standout student, and instead she's been getting into drugs, sneaking into concerts, not showing up to class, you name it. Hell, she was even revealed to be at risk, which is not good, and she could probably be expelled. We also happen to meet a familiar cast of characters. Nathan Prescott, who you may know gets into some ish. And again, spoiler alert, you'll see at the beginning of the original Life is Strange, he was confronting Chloe in the bathroom and shot and killed her, which kind of led to this whole thing where Max discovered she could rewind time and go back in time. And obviously, there were consequences to that decision, and that included the storm. But in this version of Life is Strange, you're not rewinding time, you're not going back in time. I mean, you have some flashback scenes with Chloe and her dad, but for the most part, you have to bridge together a conversation. Maybe you have to figure out what's the right thing to say. Maybe you have to stop somebody from making a very foolish decision that could negatively affect you. On top of that, sometimes you get into some trash talk, and you got to keep up with the person you're trash talking in order to get your way.
Is that your bike over there?
Yup.
It's, pretty cool.
Gee, thanks. Is that all?
This is the old mill, right? I heard Firewalk is playing here tonight. They're awesome.
Nope.
And this episode centered around Chloe's adventure with Rachel Amber, who you may recall was the young woman that went missing in the original Life is Strange. Rachel Amber comes off very likable, a bit pretentious at first, and somebody that's perceived by the student body as almost untouchable. This perfect young woman, she's an actress, she's beautiful. She would never hang out with somebody like Chloe, but as we find out throughout this episode, perception, especially in high school, is not always reality. I love the voiceover work in this game. Aesthetically, it looks great. There's definitely a sense of familiarity being back in Arcadia Bay and in some of the spots that Max and Chloe explored in the original one. But there is one depressing thing, and that is if you've played the original game, you know that in the back of your mind, things don't end well for a lot of these people. Even the people you don't really like Nathan Prescott and Victoria, you know that things are not going to end that well. The cool thing is you can take a trip down memory lane. You could learn some new details about the past characters by going into the journal, going through the texts, and you can enjoy these characters for what they are at this time. I thought there was tremendous depth to Chloe's character as well as Rachel's character, and I liked being able to pick and choose what I wanted to say. I feel like this game is a much more refined version of what Telltale games could be and perhaps should be, rather than using the same old formula. But again, we know for the most part it's probably not going to end well for a number of these characters. It's kind of in a way like 13 Reasons Why. You start out, spoiler alert if you haven't watched the show on Netflix, you know that the girl committed suicide, and you unravel these details over the course of the series, and you figure out, well, what the hell's the reason why she killed herself. I wouldn't say that this is that morbid, but this series gets awfully deep, and there is that feeling in the pit of your stomach, in the back of your mind, you know, a bit of sadness, because you watch these young women, these young characters on the screen, and you think, man, there's just so much potential to do good, to make a positive impact. And well, who knows? Maybe in the next episode, maybe in the following episode, we realize that perhaps we can rewrite history. And I'd say that's what's the most intriguing aspect of Life is Strange Before the Storm. It is a prequel, but we're learning that there's a lot more depth to these characters than even we thought of. And on top of that, we may be able to change the course of what happens, and perhaps more successfully than Max with her rewinding powers. But folks, if you want to know if episode 1 of Life is Strange Before the Storm is worth your money, I would give it a resounding thumbs up and tell you, hell yes. I played this on the PlayStation 4. I encountered no frame rate issues, no bugs or anything like that. I heard there were some issues maybe with the PC version, so if you guys had any issues, please feel free to leave them in the comments below so we could help out our fellow gamers. But I had no technical issues. I thought the game aesthetically looked great. I love the voice acting. I love the content. I wish it was longer. I wish they released every episode on demand so you could just play it straight through, but hey, it is what it is. Some good things you really do have to wait for, but I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Life is Strange Before the Storm Episode 1? What do you expect in the episodes to come? Let me know. Leave a comment below. Tweet us, Facebook us. Do what you got to do. If you enjoyed this review, please click that like button. Please subscribe to TSC Gaming. Please visit our official website, thesportsquare.com. And until next time, everybody, as always, enjoy the games.
No, Steph.
Hey, give Barb a chance, okay? The two heroes.
Hold on. Elamon narrows his eyes at the elf in front of him and says, I am here to defeat Durgaron, the Unscarred. In the name of King Tiberius, what makes you think you are worthy to fight alongside me?
I once stabbed a guy in the chest with a sword, and it went all the way through and killed the guy behind him too. True story.